Hi, friends. Welcome to the Mastermind Moments podcast.
Hosted by your pals, Josh and Sasha.
Join us during our weekly mastermind as we collaborate on how to make the most out of our lives.
Not only are we going to mastermind our careers, we're going to work on all areas of life together.
Let's do it. Listen in as we make the most of our mastermind moments.
Hi, hello.
Hello, how are you?
Uh,
Start.
Great in some ways, not great in others. It's like basically what we're doing here and what we're chatting about, right? So, yeah, exactly. How are you doing?
I'm okay. I feel a bit brain fried right now, like completely brain fried. I just had a meeting with my boss who was, I texted you, didn't I, saying maybe we can record a bit early because he's running late or he didn't show up at all. And then 10 minutes later, he shows up and doesn't even apologize. And then he spends the best part of an hour just causing me so much anxiety and stress. Okay, maybe not anxiety, but just stress. And we can get into it later on, but I need out of this job. It is taking away my zen, and I need to protect my peace and leave. So we can get into it.
Yeah, we should definitely get into it. But what you said there, protect your peace, like that, we should definitely get into that because that's resonating with me quite a lot right now.
Yeah.
Okay, well, before we get into everything, let's spin a wheel. This question is so funny. What are some strategies you use to cope with anxiety or stress?
Wow. Well, what am I doing right now? What have I done the last week? I guess because as we said last week, or as I said last week, I'm in a really good headspace. I'm doing really well.
Yeah.
And a big part of that is the exercise that I've been doing. I have been running every single day pretty much. If not running, then going to the gym. I literally haven't missed a single day since I set out. So coming up on 3 weeks now. And
Yes.
honestly, like this morning, for example, actually is a great example. My boss has been off for from Monday to Wednesday. Today, when we're recording, is Thursday, and I just felt so much stress and anxiety having him back because he just, again, we can get into it, but he's just not the easiest person to deal with for various reasons, which I'll get into. But he came back and he was doing all these different things, and then multiple things were going wrong and fires that I had to put out. And I was like, why am I feeling so like borderline crying? Like I was so stressed, not anxiety, but like just stressed. I realized that it's because generally at the moment I'm going for my exercise, my workouts around lunchtime, not in the mornings. And I think if I started my day with exercise, that stress would be so much easier to deal with. So honestly, we've said it over and over again on this podcast, but moving our body, moving my body, it helps so much. Like I finished my work, I was feeling really stressed, as I say, borderline on the border of tears. I was so stressed, and I just went for a 5K run, which you guys call it 5K? Do you know what that is? Yeah. Well, I know you do miles.
For racing, yeah, we do miles, but for
Yeah.
racing, we do the Ks.
Okay.
Like there's a 5K run, a 10K run. A 5K run is 3.2 miles.
I see. Okay. So I went for a
Yeah.
3.2 mile run, and I felt great afterwards. I've gone for a 5K run every single day this week, and every single time, like no matter what stress or negative emotion I'm feeling, it's gone afterwards. And I feel it's not just gone, like I feel great. Like I feel like I can take on the world, I can talk to
Yeah.
anyone, I can just everything is gone. So moving my body is the main thing that I'm doing to cope with stress and anxiety at the moment for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, like that's typically my go-to method for dealing with stress and anxiety. And it's funny that we're answering this question because right now I've been feeling a lot of anxiety today and yesterday as well. But typically, yeah, movement, meditation, and then I don't know if this is the healthiest coping mechanism, but something I do is I like handwrite my to-do lists. And every time I feel stressed, I rewrite the list. which I know sound like I don't know if that's the healthiest coping mechanism or not. Like, I'll give you an example, okay? This was my to-do list. I have 4 to-do lists going at all time. I have like my podcast to-do list, I have my travel to-do list, my admin, and then my like 9 to 5 to-do list. And basically, obviously, this is like super crossed out. I think I wrote this one on maybe Monday, right? But I was feeling really stressed out, so I just rewrote it. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that's the healthiest thing, but like sometimes that's my natural go-to is like rewrite the to-do list to
Does it
deal with
help?
the stress. I don't know. I think sometimes it's easier for me to see everything because when everything's crossed out, it's like harder to see everything. And sometimes it helps me like get clear on maybe it's like a process and a thing of helping me get clear on what needs to happen. And that's how I deal with stress. I don't know if it's the healthiest thing, but with like anxiety and stress, like movement and meditation. And I have also been, oh no, this like toy. Smokey. Yeah, movement and meditation. And I've also been really on my game for meditation in the last, since solitude. Since solitude, I've been really on my game with it. So
Good.
yeah, like pretty consistently the last 2 to 3 weeks, like pretty, for most part, almost every day. And then
Okay.
movement has also been pretty good. I haven't been like going to the gym and working out, but I've definitely been like walking or hiking or like yesterday, I think I walked, I don't know, 5, 6 miles, so 5 or 10K. So yeah, but that's probably the best way. Honestly, that's something I was like thinking about today. I've been feeling a lot of anxiety today. I'm like, okay, when can I fit in like a good walk? Like, when can I fit in? I don't know if I feel like working out. I could go to a workout class, maybe I will, but like, when can I go for a nice walk? And it's so beautiful outside. I'm in Miami. When can I go and enjoy the outside? So, gonna prioritize doing that today at some point this afternoon and get
Yeah.
that done just to clear out, flush out the system.
Good.
So,
Yeah, I think it's really
yeah,
important, and hopefully it will
let's get
help.
into the meat. What's happening?
Well, I was about to ask what's causing the anxiety because that's the hot topic in what we were just discussing. So
Yeah.
what's going on?
What's happening? Okay. So last time we talked, I was at my friend Monica.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So so like I have to whenever I talk to anybody nowadays, I'm like, when was the last time we talked? Because so much happens between and we did voice messages over the weekend. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So finally, and honestly, what a fucking godsend. I miss that so much.
I know. I know, me
For-
too.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
habit that we have to. I know it's hard. We're both busy people, but I think we should edge back into it.
I think so. It like really makes that much of a difference. I feel like crazy because who was I talking to? I was talking to Dr. fucking Leprechaun, right? And it's funny because he uses you as a baseline of how close I am with people because he knows that you're like my best friend. Like I talk to you more consistently, I think, than anyone else in my life because it's like the podcast and the voice messages.
Yeah, that's cute.
Because I know it's cute. It's really cute. I was like, when did Josh become like my best friend? I don't know. Josh is my best friend. Long story short, Josh is my best friend. So yeah, what's causing you stress and anxiety right now? So I am back in Miami for, first of all, over the weekend, I had a crazy fun time, like at a Wheel of Life fun, top tier, top tier. You know how insane I got over the weekend, okay? It was a bender. I went to a Call Her Daddy event. There were some sexual escapades that were insane. Like everyone was over at my place for the after parties because I had a patio, whatever. And it was honestly like a really beautiful event. Like it was incredibly curated. I had so much fun. It was a bender. It was a blast. So fun has been top tier. And the last couple of days, first half of the week, I was hanging out at my friend Monica's house, like 20 minutes outside of Miami. And that was like more of a work retreat. Like I just worked a ton. Her and her husband both have 9 to 5 jobs and side hustles. So like they understand and like they also are on that hustle and that grind. And I just was going for walks. And there was actually a day there where I was like going for walks at least once a day, sometimes twice a day. And I was dealing with a lot of anxiety around, we'll get into it, but around this Dr. Leprechaun stuff. And I literally just, I was going for 2 walks, went for 2 walks a day, one in the morning on the phone with my sister, one in the afternoon on the phone with a friend. And then I went for a third walk. Literally, I got back And I was like, I'm still feeling anxiety and stress. I'm going to go for another walk. And I went for another walk literally right after I got back from one. And I sat and I did a meditation and I continued to walk and I felt like much better. And then yesterday I came to like downtown Brickell, Miami, which is my old neighborhood. So I'm staying in my old neighborhood and I'm like I'm being very consciously present of how I feel while I'm here. And I'm doing my absolute best to be as present as possible. And what does it feel like to be back in my old neighborhood, to walk around my old evening walk? Like last night I did like that like loop I took you on. I did 3 loops of that and just been like walking around my neighborhood, going to my old favorite spots and went to my grocery store and like walked by my old building. And I'm being very present with how it feels to be back. And in some ways it feels so normal. In some ways it just feels so normal, so easy, still feels like home. Like I'm just happy, like the sun's incredible. It's a beautiful time to be here. It's like there's so many fun things happening. I feel so welcomed and so loved by my friends. Like I've just been, and there's so many people I want to see and I am seeing. And then in some ways it feels weird. And I walked by my old building and I was like, my name's still on the lease, but I don't live here anymore. And it's weird to be like, wow, this still feels like home. I don't live here anymore. And it's strange in that way. And it's also, don't want to really want to run into my ex, but it is a very real possibility. And I haven't run into him at this point, and he has been warned that I'm in town, which I didn't want to warn him. I didn't want to communicate with him, but someone else, we had a friend reach out and warn him that I was going to be in town, and
Okay.
just so he knows and he's aware. But yeah, like that has been, I don't know if that's causing me stress and anxiety. If anything, like I feel like more at peace here in Miami. Yeah, like I feel like the physical environment wise, I feel like almost a little calmer. Like it does still feel like home in a lot of ways. And that is great. What's causing me a lot of stress and anxiety, well, honestly, what's causing me a lot of anxiety right now, the stress I feel okay with. I feel like I've been knocking out my to-do list. And my to-do list is always very long because coordinating travel in itself is a lot of work, and then a 9 to 5 job and a business and just like admin stuff about life. Like my to-do list is always very long, but I feel like it's been pretty manageable and I feel like I've been like getting through it really well. So the stress isn't so much there, but the anxiety is there. And I know we've talked about it a lot. I know we've talked about the situationship a lot. And I'm sure you're tired of hearing about it. I'm sure the listeners are tired of hearing about it. But yeah, this situationship is causing me a lot of anxiety. We're just in a spot right now where it's very challenging because we're operating, or we have been operating as if we're in a relationship and operating as if we're completely single at the same time. And having one foot in both worlds the situation is very messy and complicated. So the feelings are very messy and complicated. And it becomes this weird, it's like you were talking about it the other day on our voice messages. You're like, it seems like you guys are getting into petty territory and you seem like you guys are getting into it. And honestly, I think when you said that, it really stuck with me. And I think you're completely right. Like it is getting into this territory of withholding love, or I'm not going to do this because you're not my boyfriend, or I'm not going to do this because you're not my girlfriend, and blah, blah, blah. And like
Yeah.
consciously not treating somebody as well as you would because of the situation, not because of your feelings for them.
Hmm.
And that's a really unhealthy way to approach the relationship. And it's causing me, and for me, like we had a phone call yesterday and talking through all of this because I had this realization that I was getting girlfriend treatment from him up until recently. We decided to talk like 50% less because it was prescribed by my therapist, and I went and did solitude. We both went and hooked up with other people. Like all of this has been happening. And then it's just been, how do I describe this? It's just been, all of these things have happened, and now it's like this weird dance between, oh, well, I don't know if we're going to do this because this would be girlfriend treatment or boyfriend treatment, and you're not that, and I have to protect myself. And we had the phone call yesterday, and I told him, I was like, because I've been getting girlfriend treatment up until a month ago, I've been expecting it. And now that I'm not really getting that kind of treatment, which I think he's withholding because of this whole like, situation thing, whatever, it's like I already had that expectation of how I was being treated. And I'm expecting him to treat me like his girlfriend when I'm not. And that's
Yeah.
unfair of me to do, especially when I'm the one who has been saying this whole time, like, we need to be single, we need to be single, we need to be single. So for me, it's a conscious neuroplasticity work of not expecting him to treat me a certain way, but almost taking, like observing how he's treating me and taking it in as data to be like, well, just taking it in his data as he's doing this, he's not doing this, and taking in his data like completely of like how he is treating me overall. Which is a little bit tricky because there's this caveat, and he was talking about it last night. Well, yeah, you can do that, but there's a caveat where if you were my girlfriend, I would be doing something different. I'm like, but I can't know that. There's no way for me to know that, and that's not fair for me to. I can't be like, oh, he's treating me poorly, but if I was his girlfriend, he'd be treating me better. That's not how that works.
Yeah.
And if that's how he wants to treat me, that's how he wants to treat me. Which, granted, he's not doing anything bad. It's just whatever. And for me, I said, okay, my intention going into this is we're in the situation where we have one foot in both worlds. And for me, I never want to go into a relationship withholding love and treating love as a transaction and being like tit for tat or measuring how much love someone's giving. Like if it feels good for me to call him, I want to call him. If it feels good for me to reach out and love on him, I want to do that. And I want to do that without the expectation to receive, but at the same time to protect and not to protect myself, but to observe what's happening. I also want to observe how I'm being treated and taking that in as data, regardless if I'm his girlfriend or not. You know what I mean? So if he is like withholding love because of the situation and not because of me, you're still treating me a certain way. And I don't deserve that. So for me, it's okay, how am I approaching it that way? Today, and yesterday, we talked through all of this and I felt better. Still felt a lot of anxiety around it, but felt better. And this morning, I've been feeling a lot of anxiety about it because it's like, I feel like I'm in this boat by myself. I feel like up until maybe a month ago, it felt like he was more emotionally in it. But honestly, since solitude, I realized how strong my feelings are. Like, I realize my feelings are very, very strong in solitude. And since like this last month or so, I feel like I'm way more in it emotionally than him. And I feel like I'm giving a lot more than he is. And that's been causing me a lot of anxiety, I think, from my past relationship, because I'm not going to get into what happened in my relationship, that it was a big thing there where I was constantly giving more and way more in it emotionally than the other person. And I don't want to be in that again. And
No.
I just feel like I'm in the boat alone, and I feel like I care more and I'm giving more. But again, I don't want to do this tit for tat thing. So you see like this endless cycle, and my intention for myself is, okay, like neuroplasticity, don't expect him to treat me like his girlfriend, but just take it as data, how he is treating me. And then also, if it feels good to love on him, love on him. But then also, it's something we talked about last week, stop emphasizing so much about how he thinks about me and how he feels about me, and think about, how do I feel about him? Like, how am I feeling about the situation? And it's okay, if I'm maybe like spending less time and emphasis and energy on this relationship, and it's like, how can I nurture my relationship with myself, or how can I nurture my relationship with my friends or my health or my family or my work? Like, how can I take more of that energy and put it elsewhere if it's feeling very uneven right now? And that's something I want to do. It's like, obviously, like, I can do it with my actions, but my minds and my emotions are still there. Like, even though I'm sitting here working on my 9 to 5 and working my podcast and like chatting with my friends and hanging out with my friends, he's on my mind all the time. And I'm like,
Of
my
course.
heart is there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's complicated and messy, and like we've been saying this for weeks and months. Like, this whole thing is,
Yeah, it is. My first question then is, right now, what is the outcome that you see, that you A, see happening, and B, want to happen? And maybe it's a tough question to answer, but can you answer those questions?
the
With
outcome
and
I want.
when I say outcome, I mean kind of, I guess, long term. Yeah, long term
Long term with
outcomes.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, long term with him, I see it going one of two ways. So I see it going one of two ways, and this is the futuristic in me. I see it like a future with him where at the end of this year, after Date with Destiny, after the year, this thing is still there and still very strong, and I still like love him and still want to be with him, and I commit, and we both commit to like being in an actual relationship. I don't know if I'd move to Tampa. I don't know if we'd move together somewhere else together. I don't know. But and then honestly, is he my person? I don't know. It's very possible. Like, I feel if I committed to this, it could end up going that way.
And
Uh,
that's a possibility that you've talked about as well, of the long
yeah.
term. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he and I have both talked about that. We're on the same page because it's like we both really see a future in this
Mm,
and both like really love and care about each other so much and see that this could be it, basically.
yeah.
So that's one possibility. And the other possibility is that it's not, and that this is not it, and this is not the thing. And it's funny because both of our therapists have been telling us they're like, yes, you guys have this incredible connection, but the situation is like can create this toxic thing and poison the well, basically, which I sense is starting to happen. Like up until the last month, like it wasn't feeling this way, but like in the last couple weeks, like it has been. I was, oh wow, like we're starting to like play these games and like withhold love and be like petty and whatever. And that's not how I operate in relationships. That's not how I want to operate in
No.
relationships. So it's
It yeah,
very,
it
yeah.
sounds very, as I said the other day, it's getting into petty territory where that's dangerous. And I think actually the whole thing at the moment, the way that it's going, it does sound like dangerous territory. I don't think it's heading in a good direction with the way things are sounding. And every time you update me on it, it sounds like it's getting worse in one way, shape, or form. And it's only going to get worse. And what I would say to that is, I'm not trying to be pessimistic. Obviously, I'm especially in my current headspace trying to be ever optimistic. But it's true, if you continue the way that you're going, it will continue down this slope, and it's a very slippery slope the way you're going at the moment. So how do you counter that? It's difficult to say. I think I'm trying to understand from my perspective what you're trying to achieve right now, because as things stand, it's really messy. Like it's really, really messy, and you know that's not going to change unless you have some certainty in the relationship or situationship or whatever you want to call it at the moment. It's not going to change
Hmm.
until you have that certainty. And right now, it's full of uncertainty. You don't know whether you want to be with him long term, whether that's going to happen, even whether you think you should end things. That there's so many uncertain loose ends that need to be tied up. And I think until that happens, it's going to continue in this really messy format where both of you are anxious and upset and stressed, and it's not causing any good in either of your lives, and it's not going to be a force for good. This year for you, as we've discussed so many times, it should be a force for good, right? And that was the whole idea in many ways, is that it was going to force growth, force extreme growth, and of course I'm sure that's happening and it will happen. But I think in this area you're being held back, and anything that comes into your life, any person or thing that comes into your life externally, should be complementing your life as it is, not causing you the stress and anxiety and potential sadness that you're feeling because of this situation. And
Hmm.
the certainty, in my opinion, is the only way that you can overcome that. And I think it's just a dangerous game that you're playing at the moment by keeping it going the way
Yeah.
that it is.
Yeah, it's a very dangerous game. And it's something we talked about yesterday where like breaking it off and like actually just stopping talking, like that is an option. It's just an option that neither of us want to do
No.
because we care about each other so much and we love talking and we love being in this thing. So we've decided on some different approaches for what we're gonna try, at least for the next month, because we're seeing each other at the end of the month or the end of next month for Coachella, right? So and he's going to be around for my birthday. So we have some new strategies. We're like not going to talk about, well, up until this point, we have been talking about hooking up with other people. We have been like very vocal about this happened, whatever. But we decided we're not going to do that for the next month. We're not going to, because it's just like, how do we minimize hurt? How do we minimize hurting each other? And it's okay, well, let's just not talk about us being with other people. Let's just not do that. And then all of these like future plans that are on the horizon, let's just not talk about them until we see each other in a month. And then we'll decide when we're together what we want to do about it. And then just see how this next month goes in the meantime.
Okay.
So that's the approach we're taking. And then we're like, okay, let's not limit communication. If we want to talk, let's talk. Let's not do any of this every other day thing. If we want to chat, let's chat. Let's not chat about the other people or whatever. And yeah, but you're right. Like it is causing me stress and anxiety, and like the updates I've been giving you, they have been getting worse and worse. And it's not him, it's the situation.
Yeah.
And the situation is causing us to act in these really getting into toxic territory, and it's not healthy. And it makes me sad because I love this so much and I care about him so much, and it's like I enjoy being in it, but right now it's causing me like so much stress and hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's not how
Yeah,
it
and
should
I
be.
never want to yeah, and I never want to question someone's feelings for me, and I never want to question where I stand with somebody, and I didn't up until recently, but like recently I have been. And that hurts a lot. And I like want to I just want to it's easier said than done, right? But I really just want to go in, focus on my career, focus on my health, focus on my friendships, my family, my travel. Like I really want to do that. It's just like easier said than done. It's like I'm doing it with my actions, but my thoughts, it's like my thoughts and my heart are like constantly on him, even if I'm
Yeah.
doing something else. And it's
Which
it's
is, it's
difficult.
natural. It's natural. It
It's
happens. And we're
yeah.
human beings. You're a human being. Like you're allowed to catch feelings and have your thoughts set on someone, but it does make things hard when your sights are set on someone who, well, I was going to say who's not available, but I guess you're not really the available one at the moment. So it's hard to have your sights set on someone when you're not available. And that's not
Yeah.
from an emotional perspective, it's just available in general, right?
Yeah, and he's not either. Up until recently, like up until a month ago, he was like ready to commit, and then like recently he's been like, actually, I'm not ready. I'm really glad we're doing this year of being single. I'm not ready. And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, it is a really tricky situation, as I feel like I've said every time spoken about this, and it doesn't get any easier at the moment,
no,
but
it
it
gets
sounds like
harder.
it gets harder, and I think the next month will be hard, unfortunately. I think that's I was going to say the path you've chosen. I don't know if that's fair because I guess you don't really choose to catch feelings for someone, but right now it is technically the path you've chosen over the next month at least. So it's going to be difficult, and I guess you just have to hope that it gets better after that. But it's there's a lot of uncertainty. That's what this is,
Yeah,
and we are built to not like uncertainty, right, and discomfort. But yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough
yeah, and that's
situation
the
to
thing
go
is
through.
like I'm feeling this discomfort and I'm feeling this uncertainty, and I'm like, okay, well, I know I'm growing through this. Like I know I'm experiencing growth through this, even though it's very painful. But yeah, it's tricky. It's like I can't control what he does. I can only control what I do, and I can control my intentions. And my intentions going into it are just approach it with a headspace of appreciation, not expectation, and also just like collecting data about how he's treating me, and like figuring out the lines. And I figured out the lines internally about okay, if he does this or this, I'm like gonna kind of be like really remove myself. And not to that feel like tit for tat, but I feel like I've created the lines of the boundaries where I'm like,
I don't think
this
that's
is
yeah, I don't think that's tit for tat. I think that's just setting boundaries, which you have to do. You have to do in a
yeah.
situation like this. So yeah, so you've actually thought through boundaries, and yeah, okay.
I've thought through them, and well, I think we talked about in the voice messages. I set boundaries for there are like two things, right? Because there's a family wedding at the end of May that he might be invited to. I haven't decided yet. And then so what are the positive boundaries that if XYZ happens, I'll invite him, right? That's one side. And then the other side is if XYZ happens, I need to like really distance myself and remove myself. Those boundaries I figured out.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to share them publicly. I can tell you privately, but I'm not going to share them publicly. And I'm also not going to tell him either just because I don't want him to do those things out of fear of losing me. I want him to do those things because he wants to. I figured out those like negative boundaries for myself. The positive ones I've not figured out yet. And the positive ones I think is I don't know, if I'm feeling by the time, like by the end of the month when we were like together, whatever, if I'm feeling much better in the situation and just good in general, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But for right now, I feel like I'm in this boat by myself and I feel Like I care more and I'm giving more and I'm loving more and like it's really difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. And I guess you have very recent trauma from that as well, which makes it even harder. But I think,
Actually, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I think,
Actually, yeah.
hmm
Wow. Actually, yeah. Like I was thinking in my head as you were saying it, like this is probably why it's hurting so much is because it's like really hitting a trigger of like the trauma that I experienced from my last relationship.
yeah,
Wow.
I'm sure it is.
Wow. Whoa. That was like mind blow. That's gonna take some thinking about and reflecting on my part. Wow. Because that's why it's hurting so bad. That's why it's hurting so much. It's literally hitting like a super, super deep nerve and trigger in me about what's happened in my last relationship. And again, like I'm not chatting about what happened here. Wow. 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 Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That
Uh,
that really helped things click for me.
yeah, I'm sure that's a massive part of it that I think also maybe knowing that or acknowledging that could help you process and understand what you're going through. If you actually sit down and think about what you went through and compare it to now and the emotions you're feeling, I think that could really be beneficial in processing what you're going through now.
Yeah, yeah, and this is teaching me a lesson, like, I feel like maybe that thing is not healed yet, so, like, me going through this now, you
I
know.
mean, we said last week that it's been months, right? It's been this year has flown by, and the time has flown since the whole thing happened. But actually is very recent still. In the grand scheme of our brains and the imprint and memories of our brains, it's very recent. And for some people, it takes years to get over trauma like that. It's a horrible thing to go through.
Mm.
Relationship trauma is not easy to process, especially when you're trying to date or see someone so soon after. It's it makes it really difficult, and it is very recent still. So you've got to acknowledge that.
Wow, yeah, it's only been, like, 4 months, a little less than 4 months, like, it's been officially today has been 3 months since I've been in transit. So, it's been a quarter of the year I have been in transit, and it's gone so fast. I can't believe it's already been 3 months since I've been going from place to place, but yeah, it's only been 4 months since my ex and I split,
Yeah.
and it's true, and, like, all of this that's coming up now is literally, like, shining a light on this, like, thing that was broken within me that was, like, never didn't really heal, and yeah, wow. That's something I really gotta sit on and reflect on and, like, journal on because that's a lot, and
Yeah.
it's completely right. Like, this is why it's, like, hitting me so deep right now. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Whew, my god. I feel like the same like, still feel anxiety, but, like, I feel
Of course you do.
way more clear-headed about it.
Of
Yeah, I
course you
think
do.
my
And
walk and, like, my movement's gonna help a lot with the
movement and
anxiety.
walking and but you also need time to process it, right? You need to sit down and, as you said, journal and actually allow yourself to process it. And it's not gonna realizing something like this is not gonna just magically help you overcome what you're feeling right now. You're still gonna feel the way that you are
I'm gonna
because
yeah,
it takes
yeah.
time and also it's a natural way to feel about a situation like this. But I think it is exaggerated because of that trauma.
Wow. Yeah, you're right. It's so funny because it's literally as soon as we've said that, as soon as we like link that together, yes, I still feel the anxiety, but there's almost like a sense of peace now about it. Like it's
Interesting.
just like clearer. You know what I mean? I feel the anxiety and I feel like the overwhelm about or the anxiety about it, but I feel almost calmer about it
Mm,
because I like feel like I know where it's like why it's so intense. It's well, you wouldn't know this, but it's like when you're PMSing and you're so upset about everything and you're like upset about everything, you're like, why are just going through it. And then you realize you're PMSing and it's, well, the feelings are still there, but it's so much easier to deal with because you know why it's happening.
yeah.
You've never experienced that, but this
No.
happens every month for me
Sure.
where I'm freaking out about something and then I'm like, oh, I'm PMSing. Okay. And then it like calms me. Like I still feel it, but it just calms me down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, What's
Yeah.
happening with you?
What's
Say
happening with me? Well, I don't have a huge amount to report, to be honest. I obviously work is not great. I feel like I've mentally checked out again. I did this back in like October, November time when I actually handed in my notice at work. Mentally checked out. I was just done. I wasn't doing any work anymore. And I feel like I'm at that point now again. Obviously, I haven't handed in my notice, but since last week, obviously, I did update you on this on the voice messages because we were meant to record yesterday or 2 days ago. 2 days ago, right? And then last minute, I had a update from Zoopla, who were the ones who I've now had 3 interviews with, and every single one of them absolutely loved me, but none of them offered me the job for some reason. But they all recommended me to other departments and to other teams within Zupa because they loved me that much and they thought I'd be a great fit at the company. So I actually wrote on Friday to the recruiter who's like an in-house recruiter at Zoopla, and I said, just please consider me for other positions. I'd love to be considered and have further conversations. And to be honest, I wasn't expecting anything from it because I've now technically failed 3 interviews and not got the job for any of them. So why would they still be considering me? Clearly, I'm just not good enough, and that was going through my head. But then Monday, really late on, she wrote to me and she said, "There's a new job that's just gone live. Think you'd be a great fit for it. Are you interested?" It's exactly the same job I was interviewing for before, but just on a different team. I went straight back to her and I said, "Yes, please get me in." She literally booked the interview in for the next afternoon, smashed it. I interview so well. Like I'm really good at job interviews. Absolutely smashed it. It was an hour-long interview. Just couldn't have done anything better. Then she got straight in touch with me afterwards. And bear in mind, the guy who was interviewing me, he was my boss, well, would be my boss, will be my boss, hopefully. And he was saying to me, like, he said, "Josh, you're amazing. You're so well polished. You're just so impressive. Your resume is just so impressive. You've had such a great career. Stop it, stop it." And it was really bigging me up. And then at the end, I always like to close with trying to understand what the next steps are. And he said, "To be honest, we usually try and keep a poker face, but you're so good that we're going to put you through to the next stage, hopefully early next week, whenever you can, and we'll see how it goes." And he said, "To be honest, it's a formality at this point. We just want to know a second opinion on you from someone else in the company." The recruiter got straight in touch with me afterwards. She said, "When are you free?" I said, "Let's do it tomorrow." She booked it in for tomorrow, as in yesterday. Did it, smashed it again, and again I closed the interview. And this is such a good job interview closing question. I've always done this throughout my career. What can I do right now to get you to offer me the job? Or what can I do to get you to offer me the job right now? And it doesn't always work. They're never going to offer you the job there and then necessarily. Sometimes they might, but it shows that you're a closer and it shows that you're good you're impressionable and they're going to remember that. So I'm currently waiting to hear on that job, and I'm pretty sure I've got it. I really can't see any scenario under which I don't have it. But because I've been going through this process, I'm just mentally checked out of my current job, and I just don't want to put any time or effort into it because I feel like I've already got one foot out the door. And even if I get the job, I still have to stay for another 2 months. It's 2 months notice that I have to give. So it's not a healthy attitude because it means for the next 2 months I will be not enjoying my work. And so I think I need to shift that attitude, which is really important. But it's hard when I have a boss like the one I do, which I touched on earlier on in the call. He, and this sounds so terrible to say, and I feel so like arrogant saying this almost, but have you ever worked with someone in any capacity, whether it's at work or on a project of some sort, where you just know that you are so much more intelligent than them?
Mm,
Do you
yeah.
know what I mean? Does that sound really
Yeah.
bad? I don't know, like
Yeah, it does, but, like, I understand what you're saying, and we've all dealt with that, right? Like, we've all dealt with a coworker or, like, a classmate or something, and you're just like, Can you just do the thing? Can you just do the thing? Yeah.
It's yeah, can you just do the thing? But this guy's my boss, right? And he's earned his way to that position. I respect it. He has much less experience than me for starters, so I know the industry much better than he does. But he just like the meeting I had this afternoon, he asked the same questions over and over, and I give him the answer, and then he'll ask the same question again 2 minutes later. I'm like, I just told you. I just told you the answer. And I have to get quite firm with him. And he's right, yeah, sorry. It sometimes it just feels like I'm dealing with someone with an IQ of 20. And it's really, and I'm not, I'm smart, but I'm not massively intelligent. But it's just hard and it just drives me insane. Like I have a way of doing things that works. He's trying to impose a certain way of doing things that I know is not going to work with the type of clients I'm working with, and it just makes my life so hard, and it's driving me insane. It's driving my colleagues on my team insane as well. We have a little group chat where we talk about it. We talk about the management actually, and it's kind of a little bit of a gossipy, bitching kind of chat, which is I think necessary.
Toxic.
It's toxic, but I think it's necessary. It's like an outlet for us. It is definitely very toxic, and it's not very nice, but
Yeah.
it's hard. It's hard having to deal with someone like that on a daily basis, and I just want out. I just want out, and so I'm really desperate to get this job. I think I've done enough. I had to give a sales presentation yesterday as part of the interview, smashed it. So I think I'm on the right track, but right now it feels so stressful and frustrating being stuck where I am right now. So that's something that needs work, and I think the work that I can do on that is it is all about gratitude. When I started this path that I'm on, this path of enlightenment a couple of weeks ago, um,
Mhm.
I was trying to go about everything with a positive attitude and kind of putting thought into everything I do, which is something a mantra I've tried to live by for a long time, but it's only just started to click and actually started to recently feel doable and real. And for the most part, I've been doing it really well. My life has been great over the last 3 weeks or so. But work is the one thing that is just it. There's just something about it that just switches a switch off in my brain, and I dissociate as well. It's the closest I've come to a kind of BPD episode in recent weeks or in recent months, to be fair, because it just does something to me. But I do think that the easy solution to that is actually to sit down and meditate and go, I'm really grateful for this job. I'm really
Uh-huh.
grateful to have the opportunity that I have to earn money. I've just had, or I'm about to on Monday, have my highest ever paycheck at a job. So I'm incredibly grateful for that and for the money that this is bringing me and for the job security. There's so much to be grateful for. Of course there is. There's great
Yeah.
gratitude in everything,
Yeah.
right? And I just need
Right.
to start focusing on that and meditating on that. And I think that will be the solution, regardless of
Mm.
whether I get this new job or not. And if I don't get the job, then it exaggerates it even more that I need to be really grateful for what I have. So that's definitely work that I need to do. Um,
Yeah.
and then yeah, not a huge amount else really. I'm keeping up my physical health. I actually had a look through my manifesto a couple of days ago, and I was looking through
Yes.
every single page of the wheel and thinking, how am I actually doing in this? And looking through my list of things to do, and I was like, how much of that am I doing? Um,
Uh-huh.
and pretty much, honestly, every single part of my wheel right now is 8, 9, I would say, like doing really well, except for career. I think mental health, physical health haven't been this good in years. Growth is through the roof right now. That there's just this every area. There's things that I'm doing right. I'm on the right path, but career is the one that it doesn't feel so good at the moment. So yeah, but there's things I can do to work on that. One of the things in my manifesto is practice gratitude no matter what job I'm doing. And that's under
Yeah.
the career section. So the fact that my career feels so bad right now is probably down to that. I'm not being grateful enough or positive enough about it. So if that makes sense.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it is neuroplasticity. Like this job, like, yes, it gets on you and it gets you down, and there's no taking away from that. Like that is a reality. It's like teaching you what you want to, what you don't want to have in a next job. But there is a lot to be grateful for as well. You're right. The job security, the money, just all of it. The connections you're creating
Yeah.
with these people or like your coworkers, like shared trauma. So it's
Yeah.
it's there's a lot to be grateful for, and it's like it's still, yeah, a career might be taking a dip right now, but you're working on it. Like you are going and interviewing at these places, and you are looking elsewhere for jobs and doing your thing, and like you're doing it. You're doing it. It's just
Yeah, exactly. And I have coping mechanisms in place. And I think so. What I saw back in like October when I handed in my notice was up until that point, I was mentally checked out. For the week or so after, I was mentally done with the job. But the moment I decided, I made the decision that it would be best for me to stay. And I actually did practice gratitude for my job and thought about what a great opportunity this is for me and how lucky I am to have it. I suddenly started pouring everything into it. And I had a couple of really successful big months because I was working hard. I was actually putting the effort in and the love and
Mhm.
care into my work, which I wasn't before. But I've gone back into that place now where I'm mentally checked out. And I do think I need an outcome from this job application. I'm not, if we look back 3 weeks ago, I was really anxious waiting for an outcome from this
yeah.
job application. I'm
Mhm.
really anxious. I'm not anxious about it anymore. It's more about, I think, just subconsciously, I need closure. I need an outcome, whether I've got the job and I'm going to go for that, or whether I don't have the job and I need to dedicate myself to this current job. So yeah, that's it. I'm over the anxiety. If the recruiter gets back to me today or tomorrow or next week, it's not the end of the world. I'm happy to wait, but I just need that closure, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so that's really important.
It's super important. It's super important.
Yeah.
And you'll get it. Just I think just patience and gratitude.
That's yeah, and patience was another thing. I don't remember where it came up, but I was thinking about it, about the job application, about side hustles, about various different aspects of my life. And what causes the stress and anxiety is a lack of patience and a lack of wanting to wait. And then I saw it somewhere. I think it might have even been in my manifesto. There was something about be patient and take your time and allow yourself the time. And that's not something that I've been very good at over the years. So it's yeah, definitely something that I need to work on is
I just
patience.
Yeah, patience. Sorry. I like just realized that I made a cup of tea and I don't know where it is.
Oh,
Not to get distracted, but I was like, I made this cup of tea an hour ago. Oh my God.
is it? Have you just not touched it?
I haven't touched it. I haven't touched it. It's been sitting here.
Is that a cold cup of tea?
Yeah.
Nice, nice.
That's lukewarm and also steeped to the max.
Yeah, no, it doesn't sound nice. I wouldn't drink it myself. I've been drinking a lot of tea recently because of my diet. I've been finding that drinking tea is really like whetting my appetite. Like mid-afternoon when I would usually go and get a snack or have a fucking box of chocolates to myself. Instead, I'm just having a cup of tea and I'm like, the caffeine is just doing something to me that's taking away the hunger. Um,
Yeah. See, I'm like trying to avoid caffeine. I had it yesterday,
I
but
can't do
still.
coffee. Like coffee for me, like it gets me wired. I can't
Yeah.
sleep.
We get the shakes.
I
Yeah.
get the shakes, but tea, I feel like it's such a small amount of caffeine that it really doesn't make a huge difference to me. It wakes me up, it gets rid of my appetite, but it's not as intense as coffee. Um,
Yeah.
if it was coffee, I could go all day without eating. That's how bad coffee is to me. But
Yeah. Like I had a smoothie yesterday with espresso in it, and the whole day I was like, like it is not okay. But
yeah,
wow, I actually feel so a million times like I was feeling so anxious before we got on this call. And I feel so much better now.
really,
So much better. Yeah, like I feel way calmer, way like a million times better. A million times better. Like that one click. really like really put things in perspective for me. And obviously I'm gonna spend more time reflecting on it, but still,
Good, good.
wow.
I'm glad to
That
hear it.
oh
And you've obviously got a busy week, I imagine. So you're in Miami for Miami Music Week, right?
yeah, I can't believe it's been a year since I've
I
seen
know. I know. I
you.
saw your post on the Instagram because
I know I
I've
saw
deleted my
the
Instagram.
mastermind I
Yeah.
know, yeah. We didn't even talk about that. We didn't even talk about that.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't.
Ah,
We have a bit of
Wait, do you
time.
want to chat
We
about
have a bit of
deleting
time.
your social? We have a bit
Yeah,
of time,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I deleted my Instagram on Monday, I guess it was. Wait, was it Monday? Yeah, anyway. No, before
It was the
Monday.
It was Sunday because I went to go post a story. It was
Yeah.
Sunday
Okay.
because I went to go post a story and I was tagging you in it. And I was like, why is his name not coming up? I literally went back 3 times looking at your profile. I'm like, that's right. I was like, I know it's right. And I couldn't tag you. I'm like, what is happening? And then I realized, and then you told me you
Yeah.
literally that day you told me. And I was like, oh, oh.
I just realized I now that I've stopped scrolling, which that has I honestly I think the scrolling and I'm not giving it enough credit because I keep forgetting about it, to be honest. I
Mhm.
think the scrolling is the biggest shift that I've made over the last few weeks because I was brain dead. Like I could not like my brain was fried. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't focus. I couldn't read a book. I couldn't literally since I stopped scrolling 3 weeks ago. I think I've got a counter I told you on my phone, which is 16 days now, 17 days. I've read a book. I started and finished a book in that time.
Did you finish Talk to
I did.
Strangers?
I did finish it. Yeah. But it's the first book I've finished in years. And honestly, I put it down to the scrolling, like the lack of scrolling. It's made such a huge difference to me. And I just I don't ever want to start scrolling again. And it's not just scrolling, it's YouTube as well. I used to spend hours on
Yeah.
YouTube. Now I'm filling that time with other things, as we talked about last week. But because I'm not scrolling anymore, I would check Instagram occasionally, and I was probably beforehand, if you look at my screen time on my phone, I was averaging like 2+ hours on Instagram every day, which is insane.
Yeah.
Um, then without the scrolling, I still had Instagram and I'd go on it for DMs and to people would still send me reels, which I would watch. I'd go on for the occasional story, but not too much. And I was spending about 15, 20 minutes on it still. Then I just thought, even this is not doing me any good. Like when people send me reels, it's usually just like shit post memes that I just don't need in my life. It's not adding anything to my life. I don't
Yeah.
need to be checking my DMs. The stories, it's nice to see what my friends are up to, but it's so fake, right? Social media is famously fake. And
Hmm.
it's only a surface level insight into what people's lives look like. I know with my
Yeah.
stories, my life looks, or when I was posting regularly, my life looked amazing, and people would say it all the time, but that's only a surface level, right? So I would see people's stories of them traveling or stuff or something, and I would, yeah, get anxious about it because I'm like, I want to go traveling. And I was just realized that Instagram is not bringing any good into my life, even without the scrolling. And the whole point of me stopping scrolling was that I want to become a creator, not a consumer.
Not a consumer.
Yeah, and for
Yes.
years since I joined social media, I've been a consumer and not a creator. And even without the scrolling, I'm still a consumer because I'm going on there, I'm DMing, I'm watching people's stories. That's still consuming content. I want to make that
Yes.
as close to zero as possible, which right now I would say is like a zero point 0.1 because all I have on my phone now is the Mastermind Moments podcast Instagram.
Yeah.
And I will open that a couple of times a day to post or to just check activity. And sometimes there might be a reel just like this at the top of the page, and I would quickly glance at it, but I don't watch it really. And the difference I think in my how I feel is amazing. I don't feel like I miss Instagram at all. And the shift that I want to start making now is towards improving the content that I'm posting and really becoming a creator because
Let's grow this business. Let's do it.
exactly, exactly. And what better
Yeah.
way to do it than at this phase in my life when I'm trying to make that shift? And what better way to learn as to how to become a better creator and improve than that than by doing it with our business. So,
Exactly.
um,
I had this interesting kind of, not revelation, but like an interesting thought connect, which is goes along the lines of social media, is that I always feel so much more clear headed when I'm not on social media, not consuming, and I'm basically post and dip whatever. I even hired we talked about this. I hired an intern, and my goal is to be done with just not be on social media at all. Be on if I want to check literally like Alex Cooper and our mutual friend Rachel Bell because I love her content and I feel like I learn a lot from it. And that's it. That's all I want to do. And respond to a DM. But I had this realization that over the weekend when I was knee deep in debauchery and knee deep in making not even poor decisions, but when I was making decisions that weren't aligned with like my health, like they were aligned with fun, but not health, I had a realization that, and I think you're experiencing this right now, is that positive and negative choices aligned with like your health physically also align with the ones that I make for social media. Like I realized like when I was drinking a ton and when I was eating like shit, like that's when I'm scrolling.
yeah,
Like I'm scrolling when I'm hungover sitting on the toilet. Like I'm not, or like in bed hungover. Like I'm not scrolling when I'm like going out and going to a workout class. Like if I'm making choices that are healthy for my body, I typically also make choices that are healthy for my mind that are from social media, like scrolling versus not scrolling.
100%.
And
Yeah.
I've seen that correlation as well. And I think that's what you're experiencing now too, is that you made so many like healthy choices for your body and for your mind that this goes along with that. But it's like the same thing on the other side. It's like when you're making shit choices about what you're eating and what you're doing, like you're also going to make such shit choices about what you're consuming as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. And the shift did really start with the choosing not to scroll. I turned my phone into black and white. I
Mm-hmm.
then
And mine's on
obviously,
that now.
I then obviously actually made the conscious decision to stop scrolling, and then obviously have deleted Instagram now. It's been a natural progression, and every area of my life feels better. I'm exercising. I'm using that time to do productive things. Before going to bed, I would lie there in my bed from like 10:45 probably on a normal night. I get into bed and I would scroll and scroll and scroll until 1 in the morning. And I'd wake up tired, feeling brain fried, regretting my decision. Now I'm getting into bed at 10:45, 11 o'clock. I'm reading for 30 minutes. And it not only is better for my mind, but I'm finding it easier to sleep. I'm having more vivid dreams because the words are clearly triggering something in my brain. It's such a big shift. It's honestly a game
Yeah.
changer, and it makes me sad that the world is so locked in and addicted to these things because I've come out the other, well, potentially come out the other side after 3 weeks is a bit rich saying that a bit early, but I see the other side of it, and it's a better life. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah. Completely. Completely. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of us. We're like really like these last couple weeks with the ships, like mentally, physically, have been incredible. Anyway. All right. Well, we'll catch you guys next week on. All right, everybody, you listeners, you stop scrolling. Give it a shot just for a week. Stop scrolling. See what you fill up with your time.
We hope you enjoyed this episode.
Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and follow along on social media.
If you would like us to help you mastermind something in your life, please send us a message.
We'll see you next week on the Mastermind Moments podcast.